Hello, everybody. You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little bit of your time. You know that I appreciate you. You know, I got to talk about the Tennessee story again, the one where the police gave Butch Jones prior warning before arresting and questioning their two suspects and his two players, A.J. Johnson and Michael Williams, for an alleged rape. I completely mishandled the story. Like when the story originally broke, I reported it correctly. I misanalyzed it, right? Because I thought that there was like some special, favor being done for the students, and really it was just being done for the University of Tennessee as a whole. So I will redo that story. Also, a couple of players arrested from the University of Georgia for damage in their dorm room. They're facing felony charges. But this is more the kind of story that I'm okay with reporting, that I enjoy reporting, because it's just young guy stupid stuff. They're just shooting stuff with a BB gun, which that's. I mean, it's because nobody got hurt. I mean, it's ultimately not. It's not the most serious thing ever. I like that story. So we'll get into that a little bit, and why young men are just not the brightest people on earth. And also, University of Georgia, we're going to stay in Georgia. There's a quarterback battle situation going on. I think we all thought that Jacob Eason was going to come in. He's been highly touted since he was a young quarterback in high school. Now he's here. He's in college. He's on the big stage. And Kirby Smart is doing something really smart. So we'll talk about Eason and Smart and everybody. But before I jump into all of that, I'd like to talk about the platforms. Where can I reach you? Where can you reach me? I can be found on Twitter at SportsCloud. That's my Twitter handle. Sometimes I tweet funny things. I'm your favorite on again, off again Twitter person. Like, honestly, social media is not my life, but if I had to choose one, like, Twitter's the one, because you can just hop in and out of a Twitter dialogue. You can post stuff on Twitter and, like, it'll get overrun by the next 100 tweets in 10 seconds. Like, nobody will ever see it. It's great. If you say something wrong on Facebook, it's stored there forever. It sits there. Facebook uses its algorithm to put it on the front page. So I personally prefer to be found on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at SportsCloud. Hot News Talk Radio. We can be found on Twitter as well, but Facebook and YouTube too. Search Hot News Talk Radio. We're the first thing that comes up. We'd love to interact with you and hear from you. Also, if you'd like to listen to us, you can stream all of our shows live on YouTube and catch our classic episodes. We never call them old. You can also go to hotnewstalkradio.com to stream everything live. I also highly recommend the TuneIn Radio app in your favorite app store for whatever mobile device you happen to be using. I highly recommend that. And you got inside of all of that, you just simply search Hot News Talk Radio, give us a favorite, press play. You'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. And getting a little bit ahead of myself here, the Bloom Sky app for all of your local weather. Hot News Talk Radio has partnered with Bloom Sky to give you the best in local Chattanooga weather, and we are your leader in Chattanooga weather. Remember, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio. So I got to talk about this story here happening at Tennessee, because I'm worried about Butch Jones. And it's interesting because this is not the time of year you want to be worrying about coaches. You worry about coaches being fired when they're playing games and not winning. That is the perfect time to be worried about a coach. What we're talking about here is something that might be illegal. Now, Butch Jones wouldn't be the one in trouble, but you'd have to think it would make the university look bad if you've got this buddy-buddy relationship with the police. The police, and I'm not going to speak as though I know. I have never been a police officer, but this does happen in places where the police will give notice to someone with a high profile of, we're gonna come in and arrest you. We're gonna come in and talk to you. We're gonna, they'll give you a heads up. What typically does not happen is the heads up coming before the suspect. Basically, the suspect comes before the investigation has started. That this heads up comes before the police actually have begun investigating anything. The reason why you don't do this, and this may violate Tennessee law as well, the reason why you don't do this, and the reason why this is against the law, is because it gives criminals a chance to clean up the crime scene. It gives criminals a chance to align their stories. So you don't want this as a precedent set. The football team of the University of Tennessee should not get preferential treatment with regards to cleaning up their story and cleaning up a crime scene, you know, more so than anybody else being arrested, which is exactly what would happen here, because the police called Butch Jones, according to the phone records, and Butch Jones and an assistant coach turned around and called A.J. Johnson and Michael Williams, respectively. So they have an opportunity to hide whatever evidence they need to hide and make sure their stories actually match up. And Dre Bowles, who reported the two of them, Johnson and Williams, who he was the one that helped the young woman who was allegedly raped and reported the two football players that did it. He said he received 2 phone calls from Butch Jones, one in which he was called a traitor and shamed and chastised, and then another in which Butch Jones called back and apologized. Butch Jones said, and excuse me for that one, just allergies, right? Butch Jones said that he did call Dre Bowles twice, but he disagrees about the content of the phone call, which we don't have like a copy of that or anything, but we do have that story lining up according to the phone records, which have been released in this investigation. Okay? So the story that Dre Bowles is telling, it's adding up to what it is that the police are saying. And the police, here's the thing too. The police said in their police records that they called Butch Jones before they started the investigation. So like, I don't think they had a problem with it. I'm thinking along the lines of somewhere, somehow, somebody didn't realize this was against the law. But it is, because it's preferential treatment, and it is, quite frankly, wrong. You're giving a criminal an opportunity to have a head start on you, the investigation team. And that's not right, because most people in most situations don't get that treatment. The police don't call you if they're investigating you to let you know, hey, you might want to make sure that apartment not so dirty, if you catch my drift. They don't do that. Unless you're the University of Tennessee football team, then they do. It's about equality. You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me. Give me just a little bit of your time. I want to say this, okay, because before I jump into the BB gun story, which is way more fun. When it comes to how skewed the moral compass is when it comes to sports, it's unbelievably skewed. When it comes to sports, for some reason, we allow things that we shouldn't allow. Like we're able to turn the other eye. And the police in that area, I don't know who's a fan of which team, but like police watch sports too, as you know. As you well know, police are fans of sports teams too. And so this preferential treatment may not just be a deal that they had. It's not like a conspiracy that goes deeper than anything. It could just be officer wanted to give the coach a heads up. Like, let's just clean this up here and make sure it doesn't look so bad. And that's exactly what they did. The issue is its inherent unfairness. You cannot give one person something that you don't give another citizen of the United States simply because football doesn't make it fair, doesn't make it right. And in this case, apart from it just being generally unfair, it's against the law. So that aside, you had a couple of Georgia football players arrested on felony charges. 2 Georgia football players, defensive back Chad Clay and defensive tackle Julian Rochester, they were arrested and charged with possessing a weapon in a school zone and second-degree criminal damage. And both of those felony charges related to a BB gun. Okay, which is weird. Like, didn't kids like really get super excited about BB guns in like the 1950s? A Christmas Story. You'll put your eye out. No, I'm just saying. This. I understand that it's a felony charge because a BB gun is a gun. I get it. And you had the BB gun in their campus dorm room. Okay, and Kirby Smart said that, quote, "I'm disappointed with the poor judgment of Julian and Chad. We expect full compliance with the policies of the university and of our football program and all of our student athletes. Information is still being gathered, but they will be disciplined in an appropriate manner. There was no bond for the weapons charge, but each player has a $5,000 bond for the criminal damage charge." So there's no bond for the weapons charge, but like, here's the thing. I understand why you get arrested here. Like the law is the law. Like we were just talking about that in the other story. The law is the law. I'm not saying give them preferential treatment. I'm saying if 2 guys have to be arrested on my football team, that's not like the worst thing that you could ever be arrested for. You're not out drunk driving. You're not out there committing crimes like rape. You're in your room. You're messing around with BB guns, and you caused a lot of damage. Look, it's dumb, but you know what 20-year-old men are? Dumb. Yeah, we're not smart. Trust me, there are a lot of smart aspects to us. I'm 26. I understand. There's a lot of intelligence to me, but also there's a lot of stupid things. Okay, I'm in my mid-20s now. In my early 20s, just stupidness. And I wasn't like outside of the house like raging party guy. I'm a curmudgeon. I stay at home and I pretty much don't do anything. And even I managed to still get in just large, like, not large amounts of trouble, but like stupid things, and it's hard to hold it against these guys for what they did. Because I could think back to that mindset where, dude, let's have a BB gun in the dorm room. Seemed like a great idea at the time. One of those things that seems like a fantastic idea at the time that wasn't really a great idea. When you're in your 20s, you have plenty of those. That's the reason why 20-year-olds pay 20-year-old men pay the highest car insurance of anybody. The reason why is because even car insurance companies realize these people are not smart. They have to operate motor vehicles, which is why we will allow this anyway. Like, we will insure them, but we're not going to insure them for as cheaply as we would insure an adult, like a real adult. We're not going to insure them for as much as we would insure a 20-year-old girl, because collectively, they're all smarter than we are. I wouldn't discipline, like, if I were Kirby Smart, I wouldn't discipline them as harshly as many of the other stupid things you could be out there doing. Like, that's just a stupid thing that you do because you're 20. That not because, you were out there getting drunk or anything like that. Just you're 20 and you thought a BB gun would be fun and you had it in the dorm room and like, let's just shoot stuff in the dorm room. Obviously, when you cause that much damage, someone's got to pay for it. And they didn't think about that, but that's because they're 20-year-old guys. Think back to when you were in your 20s. I'm sure that you were the most intelligent person, right? Like, I'm sure that just you were head and shoulders above the rest. I wasn't. Come on. Let's cut them a little bit of slack. I'm not saying the police should. I'm saying the school should. Yeah, I understand they're going to be disciplined, but I think that, like, if somehow they can, like, make bond, because that is, $5,000 bond. And you pay 10% of that to get out, $500. It's not nothing. And they haven't received bond yet for the other charge. They've only received bond for the weapons charge. They haven't received bond for the damage that they've caused yet. So they don't even know how much that is. Yeah, this is not a great situation for you, but come on. Like, I'm okay with standing up here going, yeah, a couple of guys got arrested for having a BB gun. It's silly. I'm not condoning their actions. I'm just saying, when I have to stand here and talk about arrests, it makes me sad. It's depressing. It like talking about arrests of young men who are playing sports. Life is hard enough already. This doesn't make me happy to stand here and talk about arrests. But if I have to stand here and talk about an arrest, I'd rather talk about something that didn't really hurt anything. Some BB guns, If I have to. I'm down with that. So we're gonna move on here because that story, that's about all the time that necessitated. I'm just saying, like, that just made me so happy. I was like, oh, another arrest. Oh, BB guns. So that went better than expected. Georgia's got a QB battle situation going on. University of Georgia's got a QB battle situation going on because I think everyone thought, and maybe I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I thought Jacob Eason was going to come in and be the starting quarterback. Like, you're Kirby Smart, you're coming in, you need to make a splash, and you've got this guy that everyone thinks can be a great quarterback day one. Why not give him the start? And, I kind of agree. Like, seriously, why not give him the start? Why not allow him to just come in here and tear it up? But I actually think what Kirby Smart's doing by making Jacob Eason work for being the starting quarterback is a good thing. Now, Jacob Eason is battling Grayson Lambert, and he's switching back and forth between teams. Georgia starts their spring practice game, their first spring practice game tomorrow. Okay, Kirby Smart wants 93,000 people to show up. He wants the record for the most amount of people attending a spring practice game ever. They've brought in Luda to make this thing happen. And he is just dead set on making this happen. And if that's the case, then like what can you do? You can't deter the man. He wants this to happen so badly. He's going for it. So what I want to say for that is I think he's going about it the right way with regards to wanting Jacob Eason to earn the starting job. They want him to earn the starting job. He came out of high school. He didn't play in a pro style offense in high school because, like, who does? That's like 1% of 1%. Nobody plays in a pro style offense in high school. So you want him to learn to get the snaps under center. I think he's right. I don't think you can just give that to him. I think you have to be discerning in allowing him to struggle for this job. Because if you just hand everything to him, this is going to sound bad, but you look over at Texas A&M and their quarterback situation. And I'm not even just talking about Johnny Manziel, though if I bring up Manziel, like, this is going to sound like by handing Jacob Eason the job, he's going to somehow turn into Johnny Manziel, which is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is the discipline that comes from earning the job, like really feeling like you earned that job, makes you not take it for granted. Makes you want to make the right decisions because I wasn't just given this job, which means I'm not just going to keep this job, which is what happened at Texas A&M. There's no accountability there. There's nothing. Texas A&M is a school that lost 3 quarterbacks because the quarterbacks felt like there wasn't enough discipline. Like, Kyler Murray transfers out of Texas A&M and goes, this school doesn't have enough discipline for me. Okay. And like, you hear people say this all the time, right? Like, my girlfriend is a social worker and she tells me regularly, like, kids want to be led by adults. It's part of being a kid. You don't know exactly what to do. You need grownups to tell you what to do. These young quarterbacks want to be disciplined, and they're not getting it. I think that by not instantly giving the job to Jacob Eason, there's that relationship between player coach. Like, I'm not going to give you this job. You're going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to earn the privilege of keeping that job. You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. You know what? Let's talk Little Titans next.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community, offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds has got on his sunglasses. He's buying so many glittering diamonds today, he's almost going blind looking at the haul. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. Come on in today. He'll give you top dollar on a sparkling field of diamonds, an ocean of value that he wants to convert into cash for you. Come on in today. Sell your diamonds. You'll get the biggest wad of dollars anywhere for your gleaming diamond. Rick Diamonds Golden Diamonds. Rick wants to meet you in person today. Diamonds. Rick loves them. He'll take your diamonds and gold, and you'll walk out with ready-made money in your pocket. Hundreds, 50s, 20s, and $10 bills. Cash, cash, cash at Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. Rick Davis, Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. Cash, 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 and more cash.
Expect partly cloudy skies through the nighttime, cooling down overnight, lows into the upper 40s. The weekend, though, looking great with lots of sunshine. A nice warming trend for the next few days. Highs tomorrow into the lower 70s, 75 to 77 on Sunday. Your kids can sharpen their acting skills at the Summer Musical Theater Camp at Hobbs House in Hickson. Elementary camp meets June 13th through the 20th. Advanced camp June 27th through July 1st. To register, hobbshouse.com/music camp. And I'm Gene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hi, I'm Adam Disco, the owner and the head surgeon of Cell Surgeon. Broken screen? You need it repaired now. We can do that. We'll have your phone repaired within the hour. No hassle, no mess, no stress. We love fixing cell phones. Your cell phone has become part of your daily activities. You've noticed your cell phone is not charging properly. It could be a charge port issue or your charger. Come in for free. We'll test your phone and your charger. You have an expensive phone. Don't feed it with a cheap charger. A cheap charger can actually damage your device. Our high-quality chargers are affordable. Cell Surgeon, 140 Northgate Mall Drive, right next to Old Chicago Pizza. 423-668-0100. www.thecellsurgeon.com. Please like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thecellsurgeon.
Get $10 off a screen repair. Mention Hot News Talk Radio. Broken screen, phone not charging, water damage, battery given out. Cell Surgeon in Northgate Mall next to Old Chicago Pizza. Check us out on Facebook. Open Sunday. Cell Surgeon. We bring your phone back to life.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Jacob Eason. Another reason why this Kirby Smart thing is smart. He's very smart. There's so many puns. Like there are just so many. I could, wait till the season starts. Wait till the season starts. All the smart puns you care to have, right? So here's the thing. Kirby Smart is doing the right job here with Jacob Eason, easing him in a little bit. I don't know what Kirby Smart's offensive philosophy is. I don't think anybody knows. I'll be interested in seeing what it is that looks like. It almost looks like he's trying to recreate Alabama. But the thing is, he's got an incredible quarterback, or at least the person we expect to be an incredible quarterback. And Kirby Smart is a guy that is choosing to hide his young quarterback from the hype. You can't escape the hype, okay? People are excited about this kid. He's dynamic. He's incredible, strong arm, accurate, and he's smart and nice and funny. So you're just like, okay, he's a little too, like, you want to say this is too good to be true, but at the same time, I think our reaction, especially as fans, just shove him into the fire because look, he looks like he's ready. But he's a freshman. He's a freshman. You can't do that with him yet, especially since he doesn't know everything. And if he's going to be playing in this pro-style system, he's going to need to learn the ropes. I think Kirby Smart's doing the right thing by hiding him a little bit and shading him from some of this hype. Because what happens if Kirby Smart has him start for one of the practice teams tomorrow and he just goes out tomorrow and just kills it, right? Like he just tears everything up and he looks really good. Then you have to start him at that point, which, goes back to that you want him to earn the job thing. You can't just give it to him. You have to start him if he goes out there and just tears it up after one practice, which seems short-sighted and weird, but that's what everyone's going to be expecting. And everyone, in terms of the fans, the athletic director, the boosters, the school, we're going to have such a high expectation for him. He may not be able to live up to the expectations that people throw on him. Hiding him from all of that cannot be the worst thing ever. You are not going to be able to live up to the expectations that people have of Jacob Eason. Okay, unless he goes out there and wins a national championship somewhere in his college career, he's not going to be able to live up to those expectations. Because they're absurd. And we do this. We do this all the time. Somebody comes in with a degree of skill and talent, and we like them, and we want them to do well, and we want them to do well, and what happens is, instead of having the expectation that they might do well, we just have a belief that they will do well, and just expect them to go out there and do the thing that they have the potential to do, despite any evidence that that's even true. Like we just don't care about that. And it's one thing to do it with the pros, which I'm not a fan of that either. But when you do it at the college level, you have college guys who are recruiting busts, but it's just like they just did the best that they could, and they're young and they're just trying to develop. And most guys aren't bad guys. You just have these expectations that they can't possibly live up to. Like if Jacob Eason doesn't go out there and own all of Peyton Manning's records by the time he's done, which is that's not going to happen. I'm just using that as an example. Vols fans, put the torches down, put the pitchforks down. What I'm saying is, simply because Jacob Eason isn't going to go out there, like you expect him to go out there and tear up the record book, maybe even bring in a national title, and he may do those things. He very well may do those things. He's a very good quarterback. I think we're looking at a guy who has the potential to be a very great quarterback at the college level. But let him do it first before you just do the thrust expectations on people for no adequately explained reason. Let him actually do it first. Y'all are going to use a spring training game as reason to justify his ascension. And you know what? Kirby Smart hiding him from all of that, not the worst idea in the world. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. And I want to rehash the Titans deal from yesterday because there's more things coming from that. It does change up the draft in a lot of ways, but the Titans are in a really good position, okay? First off, I talked about a number of things, and I don't believe yesterday I focused in on the Titans nearly as much as I should have, right? I talked about the Rams because the way that people were covering the Rams' decision to do this trade just bothered me. And I got it off my chest, and then, we didn't leave nearly as much time for the Titans as there should have been. So there's that. Then there's the other part of it, which is that the entirety of the AFC South is going to be amazing. Like, that's going to be some fun football to watch in the next few years coming up. So I'm excited about that as well. But I also am excited about the Titans specifically. So I'll focus in on that today. Lock in on that, right? The Tennessee Titans have, in their offseason, acquired DeMarco Murray, who is a running back who did not have a great season last season with the Philadelphia Eagles, but previous to that, had some great seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. He had a season 2 seasons ago. He was the leading rusher in the NFL, and he could have been in the other seasons before that, but he was always injured up and dinged up. Last season, he's basically fresh. The Eagles didn't really use him very much, and when they did use him, they didn't use him particularly well because he doesn't fit their system at all. Like, I thought that was just a horrible fit for him. It's not even that he's a great running back. It just wasn't a great fit. Tennessee picking up DeMarco Murray, I love a lot because that's a fantastic fit for him. The way that they run, they're a power running offense. They've got big old offensive linemen. I mean, he's going to have to do the thing where he goes up to the line, he makes one read, cuts in one direction, and he just goes. Okay? He's not shaking and baking. He's not making you fall over. He's not juking you out of your socks. DeMarco Murray is a guy. He picks one direction. He goes in that direction. He goes in that direction relatively fast. And he's very hard to tackle when you do catch up to him. So you have all of those things going for him. The Titans have acquired this. That's fantastic. And then on top of that, they now bring in an entire haul of draft picks. This team is going to be terrifying in like 3 years. Okay, they've got an extra first rounder next season. So by the way, I understand that if you live in Tennessee and you are a Titans fan, you are also going to be watching a lot of LA Rams football. The inaugural season of the LA Rams is going to be great for you to watch as you actively root for them to lose every single game. Because good grief, could you imagine if somehow the Titans got the number 1 overall pick again and they got it from the Rams? Just think about that. You all could make the playoffs and get a pick from the Rams, who are, they're awful. Okay, this is why they jumped up to get the number 1 pick, because they need a quarterback and they need one bad. And it looks like they're leaning towards Jared Goff, who I like. But Jared Goff's not going to be ready next season. Okay, Jared Goff, that team has got very few pieces to fill. Quarterback is their one big piece. Jared Goff's not going to be the guy next year. I think they should hand Jared Goff a headset and a clipboard and just have him stand on the sidelines for one whole season. Okay? And I don't care who you got to run out there. If you got to run out Nicky Foles again, I don't care. And they're going to miss the playoffs again because they're still awful on offense. Like that entire offense is just Case Keenum could be a quarterback for them. Like, you just gross. But they're going to be bad enough on the offensive side of the ball, and that division out there is tough enough. You're the Titans. You could possibly, very possibly, take a very, very high draft pick and still actually try. Like, you don't have to tank this season away. Now, you're going to be developing the guys that you draft, but you've gotten so many picks from this draft and the next draft that you're going to be because if you draft well, you're going to be a dominant team. Now, John Robinson is the GM of the Titans, and I don't know what it takes to be a great general manager. Like, I know who it is that great general managers are. If you ask me to go look in the league and say, like, who's a great GM, then I can find you that. You know, like, you could just look at the teams that draft well. Look at the Patriots. They consistently draft well. Look at John Elway and the Denver Broncos. They consistently draft well. You can see it. Seattle Seahawks consistently draft well. The 49ers, when they had Scott McCloughan, who's now with the Redskins, he consistently drafts well. The reason why Scott McCloughan had to leave the league was for personal reasons. He wasn't a bad GM. He was a very good GM, in fact. So, though there are guys in the league that consistently draft well, one of those guys now at the Titans, John Robinson, Peter King is a guy, works for Sports Illustrated, as you know, writes Monday Morning Quarterback, possibly one of the best football columns on the internet. Go find it if somehow you haven't heard of that. Peter King did an article on John Robinson about a month and a half ago, and very, very complimentary of John Robinson and his methods for drafting. And he was talking about how great a GM John Robinson is. And it's funny because he wrote all of this before the trade. And now John Robinson is just starting to just basically back up everything that Peter King is saying. You can trust this man to go out there and make the most of these picks by basically doing to the Rams what the Rams did to the Redskins. And somehow, if the Rams should ever play the Titans, what I want the Titans to do is take all of those draft picks that they got from the Rams and have them do the coin toss to troll them. I would very much like that. I'm just saying. I think that would be very, very cool. But the Titans have a possibility here of becoming a very great football team in the next handful of years. And you're looking at an AFC, by the way, where the teams of the AFC, the teams that were at the top of the AFC, starting to decline. They're going to be declining, okay? I don't care what anybody says about Tom Brady. He doesn't have 5 years left. He's got like 3, which is, if you look at the timeline for drafting and developing players, when these Titans players will start to be reaching their primes and starting to be pretty good players, okay? And whether or not Marcus Mariota pans out, that's we're going to know the answer to that too, okay? So we're looking at the Titans, and by the way, I think Mariota is going to pan out. Like, he looks like the real deal. So the Titans have an opportunity here to be one of the best teams in football in like the next 3 to 5 years. Like, this is a rebuild that's going extremely, extremely well. So the NFL released the regular season schedule today or yesterday, and I'm going to run down the schedule here because I'm an interested party in the development of the Tennessee Titans and the AFC South's development, because I live here, and so I get a lot of Titans games on TV. That's more or less the long and short of it. And I like them. And I liked Steve McNair growing up. I thought he was a great quarterback, and our whole family was rooting for the Titans in that Super Bowl, and that one went the way that it went. So we don't have to talk about it. But here's the schedule, okay? Week 1, September 11th. The Minnesota Vikings on Fox. Then they go to Detroit to play the Lions on CBS. They host the Raiders in week 3. And then they play the first time against the Texans in Houston in week 4. In week 5, they visit Miami, play the Dolphins. In week 6, they host the Browns. And then the Colts in week 7. And the first time they play the Jags in week 8. So all 3 of those games are home games on the road at the San Diego Chargers, which, you know, I don't know what it is about the Titans and the Chargers, but the Chargers do not play the Titans well at all. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. The Packers in week 10, November 13th, they play the Packers. That's a Fox game. Then they play the Colts for the first time on November 20th in Indianapolis. Then they play the Bears in Chicago in week 12. They have a bye week in 13. And then in 14, they play the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Jags, and then the Texans for the season finale. And when you look at the way that the season ended last season, right? The Texans go what, 8-8 and get into the playoffs. And that was a wide open division last season. Like the Titans could have actually won the division last season with 5 more victories. You know, you win just 3 games and you lose Marcus Mariota for some of those. And then some of those, they just lost games that they could have won. Like they won game against the Jaguars that was really close for no reason. And they had an opportunity late to win the game, but they just couldn't pull it out. I'm really looking at this Titans team and going, this is why the NFL has gotten so big. Because when you can see a team developing and your team is developing, like you always have that feeling like, okay, there's a chance to win here. This is why the NFL will never go away. And this is a side point, but it's true. You don't have this in the NBA. Your team can rebuild and get to the point where you're making the playoffs every year, and that's it. You go no further. If you get to the point where you're making the playoffs every year in the NFL, there's no reason to believe like you don't have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Because you do. You just have to get hot at the right time. And I was talking to a friend about this yesterday because we were talking about the Philadelphia 76ers and Sam Hinkie and how is it not possible that he has developed a team, hasn't developed that team yet beyond where they are at. They're still bad. They're still the worst team in the league. And part of it is this. The NBA doesn't have a way of winning without superstars. Okay? And the way to acquire superstars is so difficult. Truly transcendent superstars, by the way, not just good players, truly transcendent stars. It's so difficult to get those that we know who are going to be championship contenders before the season starts. Out of the West, it's been Spurs, Warriors, maybe Clippers. Out of the East, it's been Cavaliers, and possibly the Raptors and Celtics have come on late to where it's not a lock for the Cavs. Okay, so you've got that, and then that's it. Everybody else in the league can just go bump off because, quite frankly, there's nothing here that says you are winning a title. You can make the playoffs year after year after year and just be irrelevant for all time. Like, how long have the Celtics been making the playoffs without a title in their most current form? Like, a long time. They're just not good enough. Sam Hinkie didn't want to be stuck there, so he was tanking to get a pick, to get the right pick, to get the guy that transcends your organization and gets you to the highest level of the athletic world. In football, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, you can trade 1 pick for like 7. Okay, they traded 3 picks for like 7, but still, like that's a lot of picks. Like the because of the weight of what is involved in that sport, that once you have your quarterback, you have the freedom to try and build your team however it is you want to. So the Titans have so much room here to operate, and then you've got this schedule here where without tanking, it's possible the Titans could get another high draft pick as they continue to rebuild, or without tanking, they could give the fans something to buzz about because they could win just enough games to make the playoffs in what is currently a bad division of football, but what is getting to be a much scarier division of football, right? Like they play games on the schedule that they could win. Raiders, that's a winnable game. But the Raiders are getting better, but that's a winnable game. You could win against the Texans. They could win against the Jags. They could win against the Colts because the other teams in this division, they're not good either. You could win against the Chargers because the Chargers never seem to understand how to beat you. I don't know why. And you could win against the Bears because they're lost and confused. And the Browns, they've got RG3, but I don't know that means anything right now. So yeah, there's some winnable games on the schedule, and I'm just saying that might be enough games there. Plus the few games that you don't know that you could win or lose, that you actually have to go out there and win, but you could like bookmark like 3 of these wins. And that's pretty, that gives you reason for hope, does it not? You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me, giving me just a little bit of your time. Remember, today is your last day for this week, but it happens every week, to participate in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series 1, 2, 3 competition. You've got an opportunity to win $124 in cash and $124 in Five Guys food as a prize. Simply guess first, second, and third place of the winners of the Sprint Cup of the upcoming Cup Series, and you have your opportunity to win. And I know that there are a lot of NASCAR heads out there that you guys know these races. You can get them right. There's no reason. And then while you're there, pick up a delicious Five Guys burger because they are tasty. Okay, there are some tasty burgers in this town, and Five Guys is there. I like that burger a lot. A lot. Also, where can you find us? And where can we find you, right? The platforms. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I highly recommend using those places to find us if you feel so inclined. Search Hot News Talk Radio and join the conversation. Everybody else is doing it. Also, you can find me personally at SportsCloud on Twitter. Sometimes I tweet funny things about sports, so you might be interested in all of that. If you'd like to listen to us, obviously I mentioned YouTube before. We stream all of our shows live and keep track of our classic episodes. Also, you get to see what I look like and my cool red sweater that I'm wearing today, if you feel so inclined. Also, another thing you might be interested in doing is checking us out at hotnewstalkradio.com, where we stream all of our content, not just the local shows, but all of our shows that we play 24/7, 365, and the TuneIn Radio app. I highly recommend it. I listen to a number of radio shows on there, and of course, Hot News Talk Radio, because I don't get our station where I live. So I take Hot News Talk Radio everywhere I go. Just download the TuneIn Radio app from your favorite app store. Search Hot News Talk Radio, give us a favorite, and press play. So the Titans are in a great position. I think that, I've seen a lot of the mock drafts that have changed since the Titans made this trade. And a lot of the things that were interesting about this is that people still have the Titans taking an offensive lineman. And first off, it's mostly Titans fans talking about this. Like Titans fans, the ones that I talk to on the internet at least, very intelligent people, just knowledgeable about the game of football. So another opportunity to take an offensive lineman, whether it be a right tackle or a left tackle, to try and keep Marcus Mariota upright. If you recall last season, the injury that he got to his leg, he actually took while he was standing inside the pocket. Was a dirty hit. It was a dirty hit. And there was no flag thrown. So on top of that, I'm particularly mad about that. But yeah, it was a dirty hit. But keeping the pocket clean for Marcus Mariota so that he can stay upright. Because Marcus Mariota is very fast, as you know, but he's very interested in being a very good pocket passer, and he showed that he has that capability. So developing the offensive line that keeps Mariota upright, gives DeMarco Murray someone to run behind. He proves that he can be very effective doing that as well. Very important. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and I'll see you in 72 hours.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Shake it at Five Guys.